meaningful midweek conversation. I am so happy to be here. I really am. I've got a lot to share with Paul and Maxine today, and I really want their opinion and also your opinion. Anyway, before we get onto that, let's do a proper hello. So my name's Lisa from A Life Full of Meaning. We have Paul here from Narrowboat Life Unlocked. And we've got Maxine here as well from Never Too Late, Our Journey. We are three YouTube vloggers who love nothing more than a good chat. Oh, do we love a good chat? So we make room for a conversation most weeks, and we share it here, and we just absolutely love your input too. And we're going to need it this week, because I think I've got a life-changing definition of how to create a more meaningful, happier life and create lasting change. I think I've nailed it, to be quite frank. I think I have. I've found the secret, and it just came to me. So I need to run it by you all. But before we get on to that, which I'm quite excited about, to be honest, let's catch up and find out what everyone's been doing this week. Maxine, where are you and what have you been up to?
We are now on the Oxford Canal near Brinklow, just in the middle of nowhere. It's about 1.5 miles to the village, but it's absolutely lovely. It's a really nice mooring. This week we travelled the rest of the country and went down to Coventry, and which was good because I used to work there many years ago, so it was nice changes, which is huge changes. But also at the end of there was the I forgot what they're called, Village Button, and they do live open mics and live music. So we managed to hit that just perfect, and we had a few too many red wines, but really enjoyed it.
Oh, that
Did you get up
sounds
on the open mic?
No, I wasn't that bad. Not that many wines.
Oh, that sounds fab. That sounds fab. Excellent. Are you on the North Oxford, or aren't you?
North Oxford at the moment, heading down towards Braunston.
Oh, not long to Crick. It's going to be so good. It's going to be so good. Paul, what have you been up to?
Well, we've travelled as close as we can to our old marina, and we were going to stay out on the cut in the wild for 2 days, but we thought, you know what, we've got a holiday tomorrow and we want to do some laundry and get the bedding washed, so we brought the boat into the marina, and so glad we did. We'd forgotten how nice everybody is, and it's just lovely, and it's nice to be on electric hookup when you've got so much washing to do. And they've even got, and I've not seen this at other marinas, I don't know if you two have, but they've got like rotary dryers outside for your washing.
No.
Yeah, so on a nice day, it's not costing you anything, and and you can take your washing out.
Oh, excellent. Oh, well, brilliant. And you've got your holiday to look forward to. I'm not jealous at all. Not jealous at all.
No.
You have a wonderful time. The reason I'm not jealous, it may not be a hot, sunny place. It's definitely not a hot, sunny place, but I'm in Brixham with my mum, and we're just having a wonderful week of visiting places and playing bingo. And you know what? I bought Boggle yesterday. Have you got Boggle?
Yeah, we've played it before. It's good.
Yeah,
I've never played it. I mean, I bought it yesterday because we were traipsing around the shops we weren't traipsing around the shops. We were traipsing around Dartmouth, and it was pouring. So I kept nipping into shops just for shelter, and then bought stuff. And I bought Boggle, and I absolutely love it. It is my new favourite game. That's going to come with me wherever I go. So yeah, good.
Take the Crick.
Yes, absolutely. Want to say hello to Jackie, who's joining us.
Hi, Jackie.
So, are we ready for this? Are we? Oh, and to Alfie as well. So, are we ready for this?
Yes. Yeah.
So, I've got to explain how this came to me. All right, and then what I think it means before I test it out next week. So, last week I was feeling a bit despondent about. You all know my battle with like trying to eat healthily. And why, I don't know, because actually I love healthy food, right? But I always swing towards the cake and biscuits. It's just the way it is. And I was just feeling a little bit despondent after, I'd obviously got that news about diabetes, and I did well for a couple of weeks, and then I sort of didn't do so well. And I just thought, oh, I'm such a failure at this. I'm just in this cycle of like doom. And then it came to me. So I was thinking about habits, and we were chatting just before we came on, weren't we, about the book Atomic Habits, which both myself and Maxine had read a few years ago, and how habits are the key to success, the key to lasting change. It's not about willpower, it's about habits, right? I get it. If you read the book, I'm going to reread it. It makes a lot of sense. But then I think I found the missing piece of the puzzle. I think it's about our identity and habits. Okay. The two of those together, I think, is the key. Let me explain, and then I'd love to hear what you think, right? So how we identify ourselves is how we behave. So, for example, I'm someone who loves cake and biscuits. Okay. What about if I change my identity? Is it that simple? That's the question. To someone who doesn't like cake and biscuits. If that's not who I am. I don't smoke. So if you offered me a cigarette, I wouldn't go, oh, no, I don't. I'd say, oh, no, thank you. I don't smoke. Right. It's not part of my identity. Okay. So is it even possible to change the way we define ourselves, we see ourselves? Can I change my identity from being someone who likes sport and exercise? I don't know. That is what we're here to discuss today.
Is it habits that change our identity rather than trying to change our identity and create those habits?
Well, this is the thing, Paul. I think that's it. They work side by side. Yeah. So I think you're right. I think our habits are the key to our identity. But what if we change both at the same time?
Yeah.
I think it's the secret. I think it's the secret to success.
Maybe turning it on its head. I think you're right. I think personally, I don't go to the gym anymore, and I think it's because of lockdown. And then I got out of the habit. But before that, I used to, and I've never really been a sporty person. I used to like athletics in high school, but never really liked going out in the rain and the mud playing football and rugby. Just didn't appeal to me.
Yeah.
I didn't even know the rules for a start. So it's, you just throw people on the football field and think they know the rules of football. But I was going to the gym to get healthy, and I got into this habit of going 5 times a week. And I would get all my jobs done. I was reading The Miracle Morning at the time. I got all my jobs done in the morning, and I would walk the dog, get all my work done, get the housework done, go for a swimming lesson, and still be at the gym for 10 o'clock in the morning. And it felt amazing. And because I was going 5 times a week, it felt bad when I didn't go. And I felt like I was missing out and not getting that buzz that you get when you're doing exercise. And you ache, but it's a good ache. My brother says that when we've been on a big walk, it's like you ache, but it's a nice ache because and I really transformed the way I looked. I lost 2 stone and I got down to 10% body fat, and I felt amazing. And I'd love to get back into that. But it sort of, maybe my identity did change because, like you've just said, Lisa, I just got out of the habit of eating things that were bad for me, and it never felt like a chore. We even went on a cruise and I didn't have any cake. I had 1 ice cream the whole week. So I enjoyed things, but that was the other thing as well, that those things that are a treat felt even more like a treat and tasted so much better because I wasn't eating them all the time. So yeah, that's and maybe, you know, I started to wear more sports clothes and trainers because I was going to the gym all the time, going for long walks with the dog. So yeah, maybe my identity did change.
Oh yeah, go on, Paul. Go on.
Oh, I was just going to quickly say, you know, I was in a relationship a long time ago, and that relationship ended, and I thought, oh, I'm too soft and I'm too nice. I'm going to go out and I'm going to get a tattoo, and I'm sure people have done that before, and it didn't change my personality. It just, I was exactly the same person, but with a tattoo. It didn't make me any cooler. Just
oh my God, that's funny. I wonder when you were going to the gym, that the way you define yourself, your identity, there's Maxine's passing boats. There's always a passing boat in the background.
It's a green screen.
Yeah. I wonder when you was going to the gym, whether that I am someone who goes to the gym multiple times a week. That was part of your identity then. The reason, Maxine, I'm going to come to you in a minute. One of the reasons why I've been thinking about identity is, you know, I stopped eating meat for, last August, and I've recently restarted eating meat. But what I realised is I made that decision in one day that I wasn't going to eat meat. And for those, what is it? It was about 6 months where I didn't eat meat. I did not. I mean, I'd see like a decent sausage roll and I'd be like, oh, that would be lovely. But there was like nothing, like I didn't have to fight myself. You know, like the voice, when I'm trying to not eat cake, it's like, don't eat the cake. And the cake's like, oh, it looks lovely. And then I'm like, oh, it just tastes so good. And there was no conversation because it was like, I don't eat that. And there wasn't a conversation. It was a bit like the smoker thing. Oh no, I don't eat meat. It was the easiest change I've ever made. And the reason I started eating meat, not because the willpower waned, I made a conscious choice because I actually wasn't feeling as great. So I felt that meat would be useful. But so it wasn't, I gave in to eating meat. So what I'm saying is, for that 6 months, my identity changed. How I saw myself changed, and therefore the change of the habit was easier. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So you going to the gym, it becomes easier because it's just something you do because that's who you are.
Yeah, it's just habits and routines. Do you think, I've forgotten completely what I was going to say then, sorry. You were talking about not eating meat. That was it. Did it make you feel good because you were eating meat and that's why it was easy to stick to?
The thing that made it easy, because the reason I decided not to eat meat, it was because I when I say I read it in a book, the book it wasn't about eating meat. It was about I can't even remember the word, but it was like honoring all species on Earth. It was easy because it felt the right choice. Do you see what I mean? I was behind it 100%. And that was the hardest thing about starting to eat meat again, is overcoming that. Do you see what I mean? Because it ticked the box for me on so many levels. So yeah, that's I think there's something there about how easy we align to it. Do you see what I mean? It may be a stretch to see myself as a someone who loves sports and exercise. I don't know. I'm going to give it a try next week. I'll let you know. Maxine, what's your thoughts on this whole identity and habits? Is it one? Is it the other? Is it both? What do you reckon?
I think it's a mixture of everything. And I mean, you were saying about smoking. I used to smoke 12 years ago. In fact, yeah, it's 12 years ago in July that I stopped. And on what I said, I kept saying, I'm going to stop, but never ever did anything about it. And I tried over the years. And then on the 14th of July, I'm not having another cigarette. I threw my cigarettes that I'd got left in the house, threw them away. And I've never ever touched a cigarette again since then, just purely because I decided that was it. I didn't smoke any longer, and it didn't bother me, and just broke that habit there and then, because it is only a habit, and it's your subconscious that needs to change. And so I think if you to do a habit, if you keep doing it, I mean, that's my thing is that if you do something 31 times, it will start becoming a habit, and that's then you take that identity of that habit. So it's just it depends how you look at things, I think, deep down, because I think you really, really want to, in your subconscious, you really want something, and then you will achieve it.
That's interesting. So, Maxine, would you define yourself as a ex-smoker or a non-smoker, or is there a difference?
I would say I'm a non-smoker. Yeah. But I mean, my best friend, she smoked, and I could sit next to her, and I don't like the smell of smoke anymore. But it doesn't. I've never ever craved, because I just decided that was it. I don't know why on that particular day or what it was, but something just clicked, and I'm not going to smoke anymore.
That is really powerful. At the beginning, did you have to use willpower? I mean, can you remember when you made that decision, and was it like me with the stopping eating meat? It was like no longer was I that person.
Yeah. And I was no longer going to be a smoker. Yeah. And because when I tried previously, and I used to have triggers, because I used to light a cigarette at certain places on my journey to work and things like that. And breaking those triggers was really difficult. In the end, I gave up and just carried smoking. But this time, it just, I don't know, there was something about it, and I decided I was not going to smoke anymore, and it just didn't bother me at all.
Fascinating. Let's see what everybody else thinks. So hello to everybody. Hello. Anne, Janet, Mick, Kath, Linda, hello to you all, and Pete as well. So Anne, let's see what Anne's saying. So, thoughts and feelings are as powerful as actions, I think. I've been trying to meditate, and I read somewhere, if you see yourself as a meditator and sit 5 minutes daily, then you create the habit. Yeah. That's that's the two things, isn't it? If you see yourself as, and you create the habit. I think I'm onto something here, you know. I think I am. Pete says, we aren't veggie, but choose to eat veg. But if I crave a sausage roll, we do. You see, that is great, Pete. The trouble is, right, is I don't have some sort of that whole choice thing. I'm not good at. It's like a bag of sweets. I think, well, if I choose to have a sweet, I'll have a sweet. No, I have to eat the whole bag. My brain won't settle until those sweets are gone. If they're not there, it's easier for me to not have them. So Mick says, lived in Thailand now for 8 years, not eating red meat and feel so much better. White meat and fish. Now this is interesting, Pete. Now, and this ties back into what my mum said earlier, which I'll share. Pete says, you're not known for your plans or thoughts. Your identity is the actions people see. So I was saying before we came on air that my mum had said, I haven't locked my mum in a cupboard, by the way. She's gone off for a coffee. I haven't said, Mum, you can't be here. But she's gone off. Anyway, my mum said earlier, what are you talking about today? And I was saying about identity. And I was sharing that I think that if I change my identity, how I see myself, then change may be more like long lasting. And she was like, oh, don't change who you are, we love you as you are, which she's my mum, she's got to say that, bless her. And then she was like, well, other people might not like it if you change. And there was so much in that about our identity, who we are, how we show up in the world. It makes me think, well, is it as simple? Can we change our identity? Is it fixed?
Yeah, I mean, we've all read these books, haven't we, that say, rather than say, I want to be wealthy, say, I am wealthy. I want to be successful. I am successful. So that, you know, your self-belief is very important, isn't it? And it's this whole thing of people dressing to impress when they go to a business meeting, because if you just turned up in your pajamas, and it's my granddad years ago had to be on jury service, and he told me this years ago. And he was really nervous. And I think the judge turned around and said, you know, we're all the same in the bath. We're all the same people. And some entertainers are told to imagine the audience naked. I couldn't do it. So that you're less nervous on stage. But, you know, again, it's that identity, isn't it? I think when I was younger, I didn't see myself as a magician, even though I was earning full time. So, you know, I'm classed as a professional magician because all my income was from doing magic. And it was only, I'd go out on stage and I'd be so mega confident, and it was almost like that was a habit and a personality that wasn't me, because then off stage I'm fairly quiet and shy, and you know, I can walk into a room at a party and there's only 15 people there and I feel really self-conscious and what do people think about me, and yet I could walk out on a stage in front of 1,000 people and not be nervous at all. And so but I'm going on again.
No, it's fascinating. It's fascinating. Yeah, what do you think, Max?
I think that's a habit because you taught yourself into be able to do certain things that you'll feel uncomfortable about doing if you're not just being your normal self. I understand what you're saying there, Paul. I used to hate standing up in front of groups of people talking and things like that. But I used to talk to myself and say, look, yes, you can do it, because you're talking, as long as you know what you're talking about and you have the full understanding of it, you can go and do whatever in front of whoever you want. And then when you come off, you just go back into your quietness again. And it's intriguing. But you can change your identity. I know I'm a totally different person to what I was 15 years ago.
You see, that is what I think as well, because I look back through the phases of my life and I was completely different people. I think maybe the things we value are fixed or more fixed. So the second part. So I tried to explain this to Glenn last week, and when it comes to me in like fragments of like bits of a puzzle, and I sit there, I think about it, and poor Glenn. I mean, I'm just like, Glenn, what do you think? And Glenn was poor Glenn. Anyway, so I was saying to him about the I am statements. I am this, I am that. So I said to him, so I think I'm going to say I am someone who gets up at 5 o'clock every morning. I am someone who goes for a 5K walk every morning. And I was just really this. And Glenn said, oh, don't start with too many, Lisa. He was like, start with you. Which is good advice. But I said to him, I think we unconsciously have thousands of these I am statements that we're not even aware of, because they're who we show up with as now. So I am someone who likes cake and biscuits, right? I am someone who and there's all these I ams that I'm not even aware of, but I know they exist because they show up in my daily life. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So we already define ourselves, but but whether it's conscious or not, and do we need to just consciously change these I am statements to start behaving differently? Does that make sense? You're not sure.
It's your subconscious. It's
you?
as well. You've got to change your subconscious as well, because otherwise it won't come into conscious life.
So is it enough to just become aware of what your existing beliefs about yourself are now? Does that make sense? Is that enough? Just the awareness?
No, because you've got to carry it out as well. Yes.
Yes. And it's a really nice smile as well. Usually when I freeze, it's like this, but Paul's frozen in such a lovely.
It's a lovely photo of him.
He may come back. Hopefully, he'll come back. So Mick says, Maxine, respect you. Smoking is the devil.
Thank you.
Oh, Paul, you're back.
Hello. I meant to warn you, the internet's really poor here. So yeah, you can dry your laundry. You just can't chat online.
You just can't chat online. Well, the good news is, Paul, you froze in such a lovely smiley face.
Oh,
so that was
rather than...
yeah, like this. Yeah. So little old me, I smoked for 35 years and now I couldn't imagine ever smoking again. So there we go. That's another change of identities. Change who you are. You don't see yourself as a smoker. Pete says, I can't talk to people in a big crowd as me, but have a costume on, no problems. I create a character. That's interesting, isn't it? What you both said about, I actually find it easier to talk to big crowds of people exactly how I am. So I'm the opposite. And I think I used to be terrified of speaking in front of a group of people. And I think many of you have heard the story on my 30th birthday when I was sitting with a table of probably 15 of my closest friends, and someone, wished me happy birthday, and they all went speech, and I couldn't speak. I could not speak. My words weren't there, and I just couldn't do it. And a friend told me, it's practice. Get out there, practice. And I spoke at a lot of school assemblies after that for practice, and until I came to a point where speaking in front of big groups of people is absolutely fine for me if I show up as myself.
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean? I can tell my story in my voice to a massive crowd because I feel comfortable as me. If I've got to show up as someone who's got their shit together and talk about something, there's no chance. I'll definitely need a costume. So let's have a look. Claire came in when someone in chat is on about smoking and Lisa is on about conscious and subconscious. What are you smoking? Well, the great thing is, Claire, I don't need anything. It just all comes. Honestly, it would be dangerous on any sort of drug. So, Kath, let's have a look at what Kath's saying. I think our identity runs deeper and develops from our life experiences. Maybe our identity comes from our values, and certain things like exercise, diet choices, smoking, etc. are habits we can tweak. Yes. I've got to say, I agree with Kath. I think our identity does run deeper and develops from our life experiences. So you think, oh man, I've done something now. I've made everyone go big. Let's just. Sorry, I'm getting overexcited. I'm pressing buttons and the whole screen just went massive. Because if you think back, Right, let's think about maybe when we were younger, and the music we liked, and the friends we had, and the way we dressed, and our identity that was formed by all those things. Okay. Now, I've done that in the past. You know, you identify with a certain group or a certain type of music, and that's part of your identity. But as you grow and change, that changes as well.
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean? It's like the way we dress, the way we behave, where we go on holiday, all of our actions come from this place of our identity. And I just want to know how fixed it is. And I'm going to test it next week. Honestly, guys, you're not going to recognize me. You're not going to recognize me. Paul, you're going to go on holiday. You're going to come back and you're going, where's Lisa? And I'll be like, here, over here.
Interestingly, though, it's because I always felt like I was gay from a young age, even though I didn't know what that was. And I remember in my first year at high school, a friend asking if I was gay, and I still didn't know what it meant first year in high school. And then as I got older, sort of 15, 16, I thought, I realized that I was gay.
Yeah.
But I was too nervous to tell anyone. I didn't want to come out to anybody because I was worried about how people would react and how friends would react. And even till about the age of 21, I found it really difficult to come out because I thought once I tell friends and family that I'm gay, there's no going back. And if they react badly to it, then I may lose those friends and family. And on the whole, everybody was okay. It took my dad a while to get used to it. But now he just sees me as the person I am. Not, it's not the number one thing is that I'm gay. It's just I'm Paul and I'm still the same person. And, I think I'm a caring person and I try and do kind things. And, I live this life where I do art and I do vlogs and I do my magic. And it's all that's become sort of, it's not even factored into it. It's just, And, my dad's really accepted Anthony. So that was, I found that really difficult. And I suppose a lot of people do, because then to me, it felt like there was no going back if I identified as a gay man. And it was only the past few years where people used to, and Anthony always laughs when I say, oh, somebody was asking if I was married with kids at the show. And they're like, are they blind? And he's right. And he's like, and because they think I'm a straight man. And I used to say, they'd say, what does your wife do? And I say, oh, they're a radiographer. Right? But But then there is that one. There was one school that I used to go to, and it was quite a religious school. And I've been going there for about 15, 20 years. And they said, who you going on? I mentioned my partner, and I mentioned that my partner was male. They cancelled all my work at that school and that church. And it's like, it's proven it. But I know, because I always did a good job. I always turned up on time, and they're always made up for the job I did. But they cancelled that job that I'd booked in, and they've never booked me since. And that was like 5-6 years ago. So, there's still that doubt. And it's crazy that in this day and age, people can still, be that. What's the word I'm looking for you to?
Well, that people can still be that. There's a lot of words in there, Paul. Let's try and find that. But yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one, Maxine. Let's call it as it is. Yeah. There's a lot that is so powerful, Paul, because you've described so perfectly the risk of showing up as who you are. And thank you for sharing, being so honest about that risk, because that, to show up who you are, there was a risk to that. There was a risk that you could lose loved ones, by them not accepting that. And on a, almost far away level to that sort of was the fear that my mum was talking about if you show up as someone different to how people know you, then you run that risk of them not accepting you as you are.
Yeah, as long as you're your true self. And I was thinking about this when we were talking about it earlier, that your mum's probably worried for the right reasons, but I think you would only become a better person of yourself. It's almost like we've amplified our best parts.
Yeah, there's so much to this. Honestly, I'm going to be a walking experiment for the next week. I'm really gonna try that. Let's see what Pete is saying. Oh, my brother recently died, and trying to show his flamboyant side caused lots of issues within the family because my dad accepts I'm gay and my brother is, but doesn't understand our lifestyle. I'm so sorry, Pete, to hear about your brother. Really sorry to hear that. That sums that up, doesn't it? What we were saying, when people don't understand when we show up who we are.
That's it. You just accept everybody as individuals, and that's what people, and that's the problem. People don't accept everybody as individuals. Let everybody how they want to live. And I think we're just too biased in so many places these times, and we say we're not, we're a diverse country and everything, and people are, but we're not. People have they judge people, and they shouldn't do. Everybody should just live how they want to, and come and do what they want.
Oh, but Pete also says he wants a very simple funeral, almost put him back in the closet, but his funeral reflected him in the end. That's beautiful. That's difficult, especially when it involves close family, our parents, people who we want more than anything to accept us who we are for exactly who we are. I was actually saying to my mum when we were having this conversation earlier, I've mentioned before that my dad was an incredibly quiet man and he disliked loud people, and I said to my mum, if I was anybody else but my dad's daughter, he would have hated me. He would have hated me. But, I mean, to be honest, he put up with me but do you know what I mean? Kath, something about cake. Change how many cakes you eat, Lisa, if you want, as that will help your health, but don't change you. Well, Kath, is it that simple? What, to eat cake? I've mastered that one. I'll tell you what,
I wasn't craving cake until people keep talking about it. Now I can just murder a cake. I'm going to go to the cafe and have a cake on your behalf, please. And Maxine.
Oh man, have we been talking for ages? I mean, I haven't even. I've got a list of questions. Here, but I think we're gonna run out. I mean. The main one, what role does identity play in our success? How we define ourselves? What role does our identity play in our success? None? Or
Maxine,
it's everything?
I'll let you answer that first.
Come on, Maxine, what do you reckon?
I think your identity gives you the confidence to be able to show up in front of people, So you can change. I believe you can change your identity to fit different situations,
right?
So depending where you are within your life or who you're in front of, it's basically you're acting differently in front, and that's deep down is going to be in front of your parents or your friends or your work colleagues. You will have different identities for all those three areas or different areas, and so everything, it can change constantly, but deep down I think you will always keep the same values, and I think that's the most important, because your values will probably change over the years because life, you're in different situations. I think it's your values that are more important than your identity.
Good one, Maxine. Good one. Paul, what do you think? Do you want me to read the question again?
Yes, go on, yeah.
What role does identity play in our success? So none, or is it everything? Or is it somewhere in the middle?
I think somewhere in the middle. And again, going back to, I was fairly shy when I was at high school. And then I worked at a holiday park and we were told that we had to go around every table and talk to everyone for 10 minutes. And it really brought me out of my shell. And being up on stage, people saw you as something completely different. And it caused a lot of jealousy amongst the other staff, because you'd be up on stage in the limelight, so to speak, and getting all the applause and the praise, most of the time. But the bar staff would get really jealous because you're the ones up on stage getting the applause, or the chefs and the cooks would get they'd get jealous. So yeah, I think it's somewhere in the middle. It's weird, isn't it? I think our personalities sort of, you can't, I don't think you can have a false identity. I don't think, we can see people on vlogs, we can see people on TV that we know they're being false. And some people fall for it and others don't. And this is why they say don't meet your heroes, because, you can meet somebody off TV and they can be horrible in real life. And we've got friends who, have worked as cabin crew and said, oh, such and such a body, they're horrible in real life. But they may have just been having a bad day.
They might have been. Yeah.
But I think you can genuinely tell the people who are really nice to me seem to be more successful on TV and have more fans than the people who, word gets around quickly, doesn't it? If you're being false, word gets around quickly.
Well, it's a tough one. I think, and this is what I'm going to test next week, I think it's what we tell ourselves, or for me, it's what I tell myself. Let's say it actually doesn't. When I say it doesn't matter to me how I show up, that's not right. But what I'm saying is, I need to show up as who I am. I need to, because I'm not good at being someone else. So for me, it's 100% inside. So if I believe something, if I am someone who does this, then that's how I show up. Does that make sense? For me, it's got to be that way first.
Yeah. Isn't it? Is it deep-seated in all of us that we want to be better and we want to be more successful? And then, it's just like an amplified. I said this before, that I think it's our better selves that we just want to be better at all the things we know will bring us a better life. So to be fit, to be healthy, to be successful.
Well, Paul, we've said this before. The three of us, we're all self-help junkies. We've all read the books. We've all done the work. We all love that. Maybe, there's people not like us out there that are just like, I just get up in the morning. I don't even think about this stuff. That's what Glenn generally says to me. Lisa, I don't even know the answer, is what he says. Oh, it is something deep. Mick says, you're the only one in the mirror that knows the truth. The rest of life is just an illusion. I almost wanted to sing that last bit. Kath says, let's see what Kath says. Success may depend on something fitting in with our identity. Yeah, I think success and identity, because I'm a successful cake eater. I'm successful at that. I've got that down.
Maybe you should just bake cakes. That's where your success should lie.
Oh no.
But do you remember some of the self-help books, and you've probably seen this as well, didn't it say that, I think it was an audiobook I listened to, email 5 of your closest friends and ask them to be completely honest about you.
I've read that book. I've read that book.
How they see you. What things annoy them about you, and what you can do to change. Something like that, wasn't it? Who's been brave enough to do that?
Well, I can't remember what book that's from, but I've read that. I used to do something similar when our children were little. So we used to go around the table and I'd say, out of 10, how good of a wife or mum have I been today? And they'd give me a score. And then I'd say, what would it take to get me to 10? Right, there's my mum coming in.
I am Mum.
Right, Mum. Yeah.
Not my mum, Lisa's mum.
And yeah, so that whole thing of just wanting to be my best self, I've always felt that, but I don't think everybody does feel like Janet's just said I'll just get on with it, which, to be honest, so does Glenn. He don't think about these things. He just don't think about them. But yeah, I don't know. Well, we're going to have to go because like time is getting on, and Paul, you've got packing to do all sorts. I've so enjoyed this conversation. Yeah. I can't tell you how much, because this has all been going around in my head.
Yeah.
Like for the last sort of 7 to 10 days, I've been thinking about it. Oh, look, Mick, that would be wonderful. I'll just, I'd like to personally invite Lisa and Glenn to, how do you say that? Is it Koh Samui?
Samui.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, there you go, Paul. That sounds better, doesn't it? I'd be happy to be your tour guide for the month. Oh, well, that's brilliant. We would love that. So Kath says to Mum that she's lovely. She is lovely. Yeah, I am going to try this next week. I am going to see if habits and changing the way I see myself, that I am statements. I'm going to start with, I am someone who gets up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I am someone who exercises lots. They're the beliefs I'm changing and the habits. And I'm gonna see where it gets me. Paul, will you be back in time next week?
I will, But can I just quickly add, I've just remembered something. Years ago, I tried to learn stage hypnosis, but because all my friends knew I wasn't a hypnotist, it didn't work. You had to have the confidence to go on stage and tell everyone, you're a hypnotist, this is what's going to happen. But I was never that confident. But that's an interesting thing, isn't it? That people, if they know you, it isn't going to work because they know you can't hypnotize them, or they think you can't. But yes, in answer to your question, Lisa, I'll be back on Tuesday. Yeah.
Oh, brilliant. Well, hopefully, Maxine, you around next Thursday?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Will we recognise you both?
Yeah, you'll just be, as I said, you'll be like, Lisa, where is she? I'll be like, I'm here, guys. I'm here. The new me. We'll see. Anyway, before we go, is there anything this week that's caught your attention, that you've read, that you've seen, that you've done, that you just want to share? I've actually got one. So shall I share mine? Shall I share mine? So I saw a study that said that people that have meaningful conversations are happier. Okay, which, I mean, it got me at the headline, to be honest. Yeah. I didn't even need to look at the study. I was like, yeah, that's great. But I actually, a couple of days later, did do a little research, because, you know, you can't read everything. You can't believe everything you read on the internet. I was like, is it true? So I did a bit of Googling, and I came up with another study. And this one was done in 2010, right? So it says meaningful conversation may be the key to happiness. Having more conversation, actually, no matter how trivial, appears to be associated with a greater sense of happiness. And this was a study done by Washington University. Now, it showed that idle chit-chat was better than no conversation at all. Right. But it showed that meaningful conversation is important for well-being. And this study, now don't forget this was 2010, so there may have been more studies done on this. They said they don't know if happiness causes meaningful conversation or meaningful conversation causes happiness. They don't
It's the
know.
latter.
Yeah. Do you
It's
think?
definitely the latter. Yeah, because we have this
so,
conversation every week, and we always think like, oh, we're too busy to do this. We do it, and I'll feel buzzing afterwards.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. Having great conversation, I've said it before, it feels like it fills me up.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyway, that's what I'm sharing. Anyone got anything else?
I found a video of Dexter from 4 years ago where he was running around like a lunatic because of the smell of garlic, and it just cracks me up every time I see it. So yeah, and then I saw a video yesterday, and I'm not having a go at Americans because I've got American family, and if I'm honest, I'd love to live in America.
Yeah.
And he said, if you ever need to know the difference between an American and a British person, show them this video. It still makes me cry laughing.
Does it make you really? Is that on Facebook? Have you got that
on Twitter? It's a YouTube. It's a British band that wins some big award, and some American presenter said, "Hi, congratulations! Are you excited as I am?" And the British guy just goes, looking at you, no. And I went to a ventriloquist convention in America, and I'm laid by the pool next to this ventriloquist wife. This other ventriloquist who's American thought I was the American ventriloquist's husband. Hi, how are you? And I just went, you all right? It's just like, all right.
That's funny. That is funny. Thanks, Paul. Maxine, anything that has cheered you this week?
We've booked the boat into the marina for the end of going to go stay at my mum's for a few days, which I'm looking forward to.
Nice.
So,
love it. Yeah.
And the promise of Maxine making us something to.
I am making cakes for Crick. I am making cakes for Crick. Also, I'll make you a healthy one, Lisa, as well.
Oh yeah, thanks. Don't worry. Yeah. I mean, who knows?
You don't eat
what my eating habits will be by then? Because like most things, and this is where maybe the shortcomings will come, is I'm expecting like instant change, but maybe not. So right, I'm gonna say goodbye. Thank you to everybody who has joined us today.
Yes,
I've so enjoyed it, and your input is so valued. So thank you everyone who's taken part, and we will see you next week. Take care.
Thanks a lot, everyone. Thank you. Bye.